Healthy living is a quest for so many of us. So where do we go for advice? And how do we move through the distraction and clutter toward a more healthier lifestyle? Joining us today to chat about it is Josee Bosgra of Roots and Fruits Wellness. Josee has some tips on how to lead a healthier lifestyle. Now, some of you may remember Josee. She used to be a video journalist right here on Bridge City News. She was an interviewer when she covered a lot of the stories for us, but this morning she's the interviewee. Josee, welcome back to BCN.
Thanks so much. It's so special to be here.
Yeah. Josee, foundations for a new house are very important as the foundation for a healthy lifestyle. Let's talk about how food really impacts that foundation in our bodies.
Yeah, I mean, our cells are made up of essentially food that's broken down, right? So when we get down to the cellular level and we're looking at what our cells need in order to carry out their function, it all comes from food. And so they really are the building blocks to life. It's how we get energy. It's how we grow. So if we don't have food and the right food, whole foods, real foods, not packaged, processed, boxed foods, then it's going to affect every area of your life from growth to energy to mental health and so much more.
Let's talk about how food actually impacts somebody's mood. What foods would you recommend to give somebody maybe a healthier, happier mood as opposed to the foods that maybe will bring you down a little bit mentally?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there are some general foods that, I could suggest, but it's important to remember that everyone is different, like biochemically, we're all different. And so I can't think of any like specific studies off the top of my head, but I know for a fact that 90% or more of the body's serotonin, which is like your happy neurotransmitter that affects your mood for the better, is made in your intestinal bacteria, made by your intestinal bacteria. And so if your balance of bacteria in your gut is off, and different foods can affect that, but also eating the wrong foods for you could affect that, right? If you have intolerances and you hear a lot of people who are like, I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm eating ice cream anyway, and then they complain about it. So I think the number one thing would be to like avoid foods that you know that you're sensitive to, so that your body isn't having that immune response and then in turn affecting your serotonin levels. Fermented foods are great because they're really healing to the gut. And then if we can restore that bacterial balance, we can restore that amount of serotonin, and that's going to make us happy. So that's kind of the gist of what I would say.
Is it really important to be tested for food sensitivities versus perhaps food allergies?
I do think it's important, especially when you have things going on. And food intolerances or sensitivities don't always manifest in like a very overtly gastrointestinal way. So for lots of people, it's bloating, it's diarrhea, whatever. But for lots of people, they might not draw the link between, oh, my hair's thinning, oh, I have arthritis, oh, I'm having this eczema or skin issues, chronic pain, chronic fatigue. Those can all be or manifestations of food sensitivities too. So I think if you're having anything like that in your life, it is really important to get it checked out. And it might not be a forever thing. Lots of people can heal from the inside out and then be able to reintroduce foods, but others will choose not to because they just feel so energized and joyful afterwards. So I do think it's important for sure if you have something going on.
Josee, I want to talk to you about comfort food. Our team was just knocked out of the playoffs. I need some serious comfort food. I want that big tub, that big pail of ice cream right in front of me right now. You say that may not be the healthiest life choice. How about some healthier life choices when it comes to comfort food?
Yeah, I love treats. And I think the important thing with holistic nutrition is that we have to like also enjoy life, and we kind of weigh those things and hold it all in tension. And so I think treats are okay, but what I try and teach clients is choosing better treats. Like there are lots of amazing lower sugar ice creams or dairy-free ice creams out there that you will enjoy, and you might not even miss the dairy. And so if you want that treat, choosing something like that, if you know you're sensitive to dairy or you're trying to watch the sugar, that would be a better option. That's still going to give you that comfort without hopefully the negative side effects. So all for treats, all for comfort food, just kind of doing it with better ingredients. Essentially, you can make really yummy cakes and cookies with almond flour and stevia sweetened chocolate and different things like that.
Some of my bodybuilding friends, they talk about cheat meals. They'll have a little bit of pizza, maybe a burger every now and then. Is it okay to have that cheat meal? Maybe if it's not processed foods, what do you think?
I struggle with the language. That's all. I struggle with the mindset towards cheating because um, when it comes to like eating well and maybe staying away from certain things, why are you doing it? Like, are you just depriving yourself and having this mentality of like, I can't eat that, I'm not going to eat that, and it's all negative versus like, I'm choosing to invest in my health and I look at all these awesome foods I get to enjoy. Then when you have that second mindset, having a treat or something that deviates a little bit from your ideals, you don't have to call it a cheat meal because our mindset is so important. It even affects our digestion, right? So if you're eating the healthiest meal ever, but you're stressed out or in a funk, then that's going to affect your digestion. Versus if you're eating one of those cheat meals or something that deviates a little bit from your norm and you're doing it with gratitude and gratefulness, then it's probably not going to affect your body the same way.
Is home cooking still the best way to go? Not only as a couple, you can have some fun cooking the food, but you know exactly the ingredients that are going into what you're preparing, as opposed to when you go out to a restaurant, there might be super high sodium content and you don't know what else is going into it to make it so tasty.
Yeah, it's the best way to know what's going in your body for sure. Because even if you go to a restaurant and you order something healthy, you might not know what's in the sauce or what's in the marinade for the meat or where the vegetables came from. Did they get washed properly? All these things. So home cooking is definitely something to strive for. Like 90% of the time, everyone enjoys eating out once in a while, but I think home cooking is important not only for the nutritional value, but again with the digestion. Your digestion actually starts by enzymes being secreted in your body when you're cooking. So if you're not cooking, you're going through the drive-through, you skip that first step of digestion, and that's really important in order to break down your food to have adequate enzymes. So that's another reason to cook at home.
Now, I understand that you do a blood analysis. Josie, can you talk about what this does and why it's so important?
For sure. So, blood analysis is one way that we look at the body and assess kind of the state of your immune system, of your digestion, of your internal organs and stuff. It's not diagnostic. I can't, say anything conclusive about you have this disease or anything like that. But what we do is we just look at the health of your red blood cells, the way your white blood cells are interacting with, pathogens in the body, and there's lots of things we can see in the blood: undigested food, heavy metal toxicity, chemical buildup. And so essentially, it's just a tool that I use in my appointments with clients to see where they're at and know where to go in terms of how to personalize what they need with their nutrition and supplements.
You know, I remember when my kids were younger, we took them to the zoo all the time, and we went to see the chimpanzees at the zoo. And I was going to feed them a banana, and then the staff said, no, 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 they're on a diet right now, no bananas whatsoever. I'm like, how can you not have monkeys and no bananas, right? So are there certain high sugary foods, even natural sugars, that perhaps we should stay away from when it comes to overall health?
I think again, it depends on the person. So some people would be wise to stay away from all sugars, including natural ones. But most people can handle that. There's actually there's actually people who are sensitive to fruit sugar, and so they should for sure stay away from those. Obviously, if you're having blood sugar issues, being mindful of when you're eating sugar and what you're pairing it with, even if it is a healthy sugar, right? That can still spike your blood sugars, and so it does depend on the person. The majority of healthy, young, middle-aged people can handle fruit. Fruit is not bad for you, but if something is, I really love this ancient proverb. It's goes somewhere along the lines of one man's medicine is another man's poison. And so just to keep that in mind, a banana might be super nutritious for you and be really bad for me. So yeah.
Let's talk about good fats versus bad fats as well. Because I've heard nutritionists in the past talk about some good fats when it comes to the legumes, a lot of the nuts that we take, and then bad fats, of course, perhaps with some of the animal fat or the fat from burgers. What are your thoughts when it comes to good versus bad fats?
Yeah, I would definitely stay away from any like fried foods, something like chips or French fries, stuff like that should be, very much in moderation because even when I look at cells under the microscope, this is a really cool example. That outside of your cell, the circle is actually made up of essential fatty acids, and those are found in healthy good fats. So things like coconut, avocado, nuts, seeds, olives, olive oil. Um, yeah, even animal protein has essential fatty acids and amino acids in there. As long as I think we talked about it in a previous interview, blood typing and stuff. So as long as you can handle animal protein, then that can be a good, actually healthy source of fat if you're getting a high quality meat in there. The one that's a little dicey would be pork. Lots of people have an immune response to pork, so I wouldn't consider that a healthy fat in my practice. But other than that, animal fats should be okay for most people too.
That's good because I love the animal fat on my pork chops and my steaks, especially when I throw them on the barbecue. It's so tasty. And we're barbecue season now, Joe, so this is a good thing. Listen, I wanted to ask you about cleanses. There seems to be a lot of negatives and positives, a lot of comments when it comes to cleanses. Are cleanses the way to go? Are they effective?
Well, good thing you asked me right now because we're just entering springtime, and this transition to spring is actually the best time to do cleanse. What I would say about cleanses is it would be wise to work with someone like myself or someone else who's a nutrition professional to help kind of tailor a cleanse towards what you need. Just jumping on Google and finding some 40-day juice cleanse is probably not wise because that can have more detrimental effects than maybe positive ones for some people. It might work out, but I think it's really wise to figure out what you need. Some people need to do a parasite cleanse. They have parasites. Some people need a heavy metal cleanse. Some people need more of like a bowel cleanse. So figuring out what you need, that would be my first thing. And then second thing would be it doesn't always need to be so drastic because the way our bodies were designed, we actually have a detoxification system built in. So sometimes it's just about giving your body a break from excess, things we've already been talking about, unhealthy fats, unhealthy foods, and then letting your body actually do the cleansing and filling that gap with lots of vegetables, lots of water, stuff like that.
And when you say heavy metal cleanse, you're thinking more country music and pop as opposed to heavy metal? Or maybe I'm kidding.
That's a good one.
Now, Josie, if someone feels the bad food choices have been building up in their system over the years, what can they really do to make some healthier life choices?
Yeah, I mean, as we just talked about, the body's natural ability to cleanse itself is incredible, but you actually need to give it the right conditions to do so. And so I would say, again, working with someone who can help you make those decisions for your body, and it's really a lifelong learning about each of our bodies, and it can change from season to season too. What foods will build up in the system, and which foods will be okay for a person. I think an easy way to do that would be to eat more vegetables. Vegetables are naturally cleansing. They're going to move stuff out of, cellular debris out of your body and bowel, backed up poops in there out of your body. So if you're trying to get rid of kind of lots of years of bad choices, then just upping your vegetable intake is a great way. Another thing, which isn't really my realm, but is really important to talk about, is exercise. And so pairing exercise with good nutrition is going to be one great way to steer your ship in the right direction.
You know, I'm glad you actually brought that up because a lot of times we like to go for walks after a nice healthy meal. We have a nice dinner. Is there a certain period of time where we should maybe let the food settle a little bit first before we work out or go for a long walk or maybe even go for a swim? I remember our parents used to say when we were kids, wait at least a half an hour before you go swimming, after you've done eating.
I would say a gentle light walk after dinner should be okay. You're still in a calm spot. I wouldn't go for a run right after because you're operating in two different nervous system functions essentially, and one is rest and digest, and one is fight or flight. And so if you're going for a leisurely walk, it actually can be good for your digestion. It can help balance your blood sugar. That would be good. In terms of the swimming and more vigorous exercise, I would definitely wait an hour or two to do that. You'll probably feel better anyway and have a better workout.
I've noticed with certain foods as well, especially when it comes to meats, that I feel very lethargic, not a lot of energy afterwards, especially when it comes to hamburger and, of course, with turkey around Thanksgiving, the tryptophan, I guess, in your system. Are there a lot of foods that are like that, very similar, that just kind of zaps your energy?
Yeah, for different reasons though. I mean, you already mentioned the tryptophan in turkey, so that's like a good, healthy, nutritious food that makes you a little sleepy. But then there's the flip side when, again, some of these intolerances can contribute to fatigue. So if you're eating things that don't jive with your body continually, then you're not going to get energy from it. Your body isn't going to break down the nutrients and use them. Your body's going to stress out about the fact that you ate it essentially and have an immune response. And so it's actually working instead of receiving nutrients. So that would be one thing to explore if you feel chronically fatigued is food sensitivities and healing the gut.
I've seen a lot of advertising as well on social media about fasting. You know, fasting seems to be kind of a craze right now, very popular. What are your thoughts on fasting for our bodies?
That's a good topic. I could have a whole interview on that, but the long and the short of it is, it's good for some people, particularly middle-aged men. I would say might thrive more with the intermittent fasting type thing that's going on. Women, it's not really something I would be a big fan of, just because the man has a hormone cycle of 24 hours, right? It's the same every day. It fluctuates throughout the day a little bit, but then it's the same. So they can kind of handle that. But for a woman, your hormones are different every single day of the month. And so if you fast, whether it's like a full day fast once a month or the intermittent fasting, that can affect your hormones greatly by messing with your cortisol levels. And I don't think it's super wise. Again, if it's for spiritual reasons or something like that, then that's completely different. Because like there might be some benefits to that for your spirit, but from a health standpoint, not my favorite thing for women. For men, it can be super effective, and that's kind of all I'll say on that.
Josee, people want to know more about your services and how to lead a healthier lifestyle. How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, my website is rootsandfruitswellness.com. All the info should be on there in terms of social media, phone number, email, and I'd love to meet with anyone that wants help.
Such a great name for a business. Roots and Fruits Wellness, Josee Bosgra. Thanks so much for joining us here today from Lethbridge.
Thank you.